Arizona has begun an audit on the 2020 presidential election. Today, we will go through all the facts and look at the possible outcomes for the future. News articles, as always, will be linked in the description. All my information here I got from these news articles. So, without further ado, let's jump in. The specific county they're looking at is the Maricopa County. This county places more than 2 million votes, and it's the state's largest county. As most people know, Arizona was a swing state, 51% Democrat and 48% Republican. The Republican legislator back in December sued the county to investigate the election results, which they finally won after a long battle in February. And for 2.5 months, the Maricopa BOS, or the Board of Supervisors, have hindered the process. And members of the state GOP faced quote-unquote sabotage from the group, referring to the Maricopa BOS. So that's kind of odd. I mean, if there wasn't anything to hide, or I don't know why they would sabotage this kind of stuff. But the Arizona Senate President Karen Fann said the Maricopa BOS has refused to allow us to perform the audit at their facilities. Fann added on by saying they have gone as far as to refuse even answering simple questions such as how are the ballots sequestered. But now, finally, after 2.5 months, the court is forcing a representative to provide and cooperate by handing over election material so it can be analyzed and sought out for fraud. Anything that can get exposed. So this is what the big thing this past week was. They're finally forcing someone to basically cooperate. They have to hand over the ballots and stuff. So that's going to really help out the process of analyzing whether there was fraud, whether the ballots are they were good or what happened to them. Now, like I said, I don't know who this is. They haven't specifically said who this person is, but I assume it's someone from the Board of Supervisors at Maricopa. So they're going to go test ballot machines, scan the ballots, and perform a full hand count, and even check for IT breaches. So this is a full sweep. So anyone who thought oh, the election was rigged or whatever, this should be pretty promising if it was. So to continue on with the article, the Senate recently secured a 20,000 square foot facility known as the Coliseum at their state fairgrounds to perform the audit. So, and to add on to that, the officials have arranged a 24-hour physical and live streaming security. So it's going to be pretty protected, invested into, so there should be no more breaches or anything like that, which is going to be pretty, it's going to warrant some, hopefully, the truth, which is what we all want. The start date is April 22nd, so I'm recording this Tuesday. That's going to be in 2 days. The Arizona Senate auditors have no expectations of finding anything. They're just performing a full forensic audit to either dispel voters' concerns, or if there's a problem uncovered, they have to fix it. So this is kind of they're saying it's all neutral. They just want to make sure everything is fine. They haven't accused anyone of fraud or misconduct, whether it be hardware, software, or actions of personnel, nothing like that. They hope there's no intentional illegal tampering, but if found, the information will be turned over to the state and federal attorney generals for further legal action. We will proceed to make the appropriate corrections. So that's pretty promising. You would like to think, hopefully, nothing wrong of it happened, but to have something move this much traction in court, that they're finally sending representatives and saying, hey, we have to look into this. That's pretty promising. And if something does come up, like I said, Arizona was was a swing state, and it wasn't like a 60, nothing like that. It was 51 to 48. So, and this is the highest dense region for votes. If something changes in this and that county turns red, I mean that's pretty big. That would sway a lot, and that would probably turn Arizona into a red state, which would mean that the election would kind of, the election would, I don't know how they would have to change it. Like they said, once those actions happen, would there be a possibility where, they'd have to go back and put Trump back in office, kick out the new administration because of fraud? And also, if they do find fraud in this one state, will that make them reconsider other states that were swing states that were so close? This is all speculation. This is all you just just take with a grain of salt. But this is all in the I guess the assumption that there was something tampered, there was something mischievous going on. If that happens, a lot of things, this could kind of set off a chain reaction with other swing states saying like, hey, wow, they found this, we should maybe recount ours. So it's promising to Republicans for sure. Affidavits signed by the Arizona residents since November's election suggested some problems with a large amount of mail-in ballots that should not have been sent to residents who have moved from the known address or have passed away, fans said. We hope this audit will help us understand how to correct those errors. So yeah, I remember this is a big thing. I don't know if you go on Instagram, whatever, you see those memes of people like the people who voted for Joe Biden, and it shows like a cemetery. This is what they're talking about. So apparently it's picked up enough traction in Arizona. You didn't really hear about it in December, but I'm just hearing about it now. They're going to go into it and see if there was anything meddled, mischievous, changed, or whatever. So promising to say nonetheless, if you wanted Trump in office or you're Republican. He provided just the news without an email sent Thursday from the Maricopa County Attorney Alyssa Adele to the Senate's audit, stating that though the county did initially provide the Senate with hundreds of thousands of pages in subpoenaed documents, it declined to produce the voted ballots, tablators, and other subpoena material because the county did not believe it was lawful for it to do so. So basically what they're saying is the reason why they're saying they didn't hand over those ballot machines and those other equipment is because they found it unlawful to do so. Which, I mean, I fully understand. I'm not a lawyer by any chance. So if they, rule that was unlawful, but I don't see how that would be too unlawful because they have the rights to kind of go through and do a full sweep. It's kind of tough to do a full sweep if you can't have the engine of if you can't look at the source of the problems, because analyzing ballots or whatever, yeah, they might be, but if you go into the sources and stuff like that, the source will yield the problem. Like, hey, maybe this thing should check if you're still alive. Like, oh, hey, maybe this thing should update your address and stuff like that. So makes sense now. Finally, it's getting traction though. So it took 2.5 months, but finally getting a little bit of traction. The county has been waiting for direction for a month and 2 months and a half regarding when to deliver the remaining subpoena material. Adele added, the state of Arizona itself was pitched into the center of controversy even before the election was called, when Fox News on the election night called the state for candidate Joe Biden well in advance of other networks. So this was interesting. I remember looking into this a while back ago. Not a while back ago, like when the election was happening. I remember I kept refreshing the tab, saying like, oh, who's winning, and I know Arizona was that swing state that everyone was looking at. And I remember when they called Joe Biden, won it well in advance, I was, I kind of picked up on it. I was like, wow, this is kind of early. They still haven't closed it. So that does, that is kind of strange. Miscue, I don't know, like coincidence, whatnot. I'm not sure about that, but it is strange nonetheless. And especially like such a big news network like that, where they have a lot of power and influence, and uh, maybe there is like a slight chance that maybe something did pop up or whatever, but I'm not sure about that one. It's more on the speculation side, but it is strange nonetheless. Like they called it way before everyone else did, which was a raised concern. I know, Trump had his way with it, and all the Republicans, they all got mad at that, and they're all pointing to that as evidence. Maybe this will uncover, what happened, and maybe this will uncover why it happened or whatever. But I'm not going to speculate into that. But continue on with the article. Late last week, the Maricopa County Board, which oversees county elections, sent a letter to fans liaison former Secretary of State Ken Bennett, asking where he wanted to take delivery of the 21 million boxed ballots and the ballot counting machines by submitted by the state Republicans. Um, they said the materials were to be delivered to the Senate building at the state capitol. There was another wrinkle. The county officials and former county recorder Arian Fontes says that moving the sophisticated election equipment isn't as simple as putting it in a cardboard box and fork. And they say costing tens of thousands of dollars. So yeah, I mean 2.1 million box ballots and all those machines. It's not that easy to transport that. They're all trying to figure that out. I assume that's all going to that big coliseum where they're going to have, it's all going to be locked down and secured. Um, so continue on with the article. Who is paying for this? The state senate has agreed to pay a company called Cyber Ninjas. Cool name. 150K from its taxpayer-funded budget to lead the audit. I mean, that's a pretty decent chunk of money, especially for, for a state. Nothing crazy, but it is, a noteworthy amount. Bennett, that was that guy's assistant, the secretary, sorry, told me last week that 150,000 wouldn't be enough. He expected private donations to make up the balance of costs, perhaps pay for the Senate's piece as well. So 150 doesn't look like it's enough because this is a full scale search or investigation, I should say. So it's going to be kind of interesting where that money comes from. Does Trump get behind this and back him up and use some of his some of his capital to move things along? Because I think Trump is gonna, if he really 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 puts his money where his mouth is and says this thing was a fraud, I think he would want to put this is kind of like this could, I'd be looking at it as this could be like the opening, the thing that starts the chain reaction. If Trump really believes that there was some tampering, I would go heavy into this and put my money into it. This is just me if I was running for if I was I believe that I was cheated out of an election. This is kind of your in. If they figure this one out, like I said before, who says that they, now he's like, oh, look at Arizona, Pennsylvania, this state, then you can go down the you can go down the line, and possibly maybe there was something big that happened, because that's what Trump's been saying for months and months and months now. So, be interesting who pays up that thing. I have a feeling that maybe Trump will. Support them pretty well because, like I said, he has a lot of capital. So we're gonna get into who is Cyber Ninjas. Cyber Ninjas is owned by Doug Logan. The company does computer security assessments. It has never done an election audit, let alone one of this scope. Yeah, it's kind of a tall task for a company, especially if it seems like they might be getting a little underpaid. 150K, which and they've never done something like this. So I'm not sure. I mean, I know companies, if they're led by a good person or whatever, they'll figure it out. Um, but I guess it's also a good thing that it's not like some big old company or whatever. It's just like someone different, I guess. Logan has promoted false claims that the 2020 election was rigged. So the news source says the false claims. Obviously, there is no, uh, heavy evidence that the election was rigged. It's just speculation by, a lot of people. Not a lot, like a decent amount that kind of gained traction. So I guess he's kind of I mean, obviously he must think that there's something wrong. It would be kind of odd if I don't think there's anything wrong. So the good thing is he's actually looking for a problem. So any problems, whether it be something catastrophic or it be something little, he's gonna figure him out because he's gonna want anything to back him up. So he's gonna go in there and probably hound it out. Uh, they Logan said, this is him in quotes, the big question should not be, am I biased? He said in an emailed statement, but will this audit be transparent, truthful, and accurate? And the answer to that latter question is a resounding yes from everyone. So it seems like everyone's trying to comply. They got a guy who's like kind of, like I said, maybe he sounds like he's decently biased, but I guess that's a good thing because he's really gonna try to like figure out a problem, in the in the machines. Any little problem, he's gonna call it out. He's gonna try to make it a big deal or whatever. Hopefully, if there is a problem, he finds it. Hopefully, there's no problem in a perfect world. But the auditors plan to count 2.1 million election ballots. One of the more controversial parts of the audit plan involves going door to door in some areas to ask people questions about their ballot and where they voted. Lawyers have sent a cease and desist letter to 4 companies that part of the audit team, warning them that they might be violating state and federal law with these door-to-door knocks for voter information. Maricopa County leases ballot counting equipment from Dominion voting systems. Dominion has been filed billion-dollar defamation lawsuit against Fox News, My Pillows, Mike Linden, and Rudy Guglielmini. Will Domino step in and prevent that from happening? We don't know. So yeah, not Domino, Dominion. So yeah, Dominion has gone through a little bit of a lawsuit where they're saying that I think Fox News said that they don't quote me on this, but they kind of rigged the election or whatever, and then they're suing to get themselves out of this and out of it. And Dominion is the person who supplied all these ballot machines and all that stuff. So if they do find something, this could actually reverse a lot of lawsuits. Like if they do find fraud in those ballot machines, Dominion's argument in court is gonna be kind of shit because obviously people just found the loophole or whatever. So Dominion did release a statement after Logan's hiring, saying the firms selected to conduct this audit are beyond bias. Publicly available information shows that they are led by conspiracy theorists and Anquan supporters who have helped spread the big lie. Dominion supports all forensics audits conducted by independent, federally accredited vote assistant test labs, but not that. Over 1,000 independent audits and recounts have taken place across the country since the election day, and all these demonstrated an accurate and real reliability of our voting system. So obviously they're not too happy about who's in charge. I mean, I guess that could be a good thing. If you're, I'd rather I kind of like having some other company, smaller one, go in and try to figure this out. because although they may be biased, but they're going to try to do their best at the end of the day, and they're going to try, hopefully they honor the code of truth and stuff like that. I doubt people like, maybe this is also, I mean, if I'm Dominion, I mean, I have nothing really to hide if everything's like, good. You know what I'm saying? This is a good way to just shut them up. Like, if you don't have anything to hide, like, all right, go look through it, You're not going to find anything. Go ahead. I mean, yeah, you're super biased in this, but you're not going to find anything. And that's going to, hopefully that changes your mind that we actually know what we're doing. So, I mean, that's the other thing, too. If it's foolproof, then really anyone should be able to look through it and not find any loopholes or anything wrong, no fraud, no nothing. So, I mean, that would be my statement as a company if I was, you know, if I put my money where my mouth is. All right, go look through it. I know you're super biased. I know, but hopefully you're not going to find anything. And when you don't find anything, hopefully this changes your mind about this whole thing. These guys have a chance to absolutely just shut everyone up. Dominion, and but like I said, if they do find something, the other side, uh, the cyber ninjas or whatever, they're gonna let them hear it. And I mean, hopefully it's accurate and it's truthful and everything like that. So, but if on Dominion everything is fine and your system is 100%, like it's foolproof, all right, then why be mad? Like you shouldn't. There's no worries, right? So, as said before, there's going to be 24-hour security, and the work inside will be live streamed. So that's going to be basically 24-hour access to everything. And then on social media, supporters are stroking fears of an alleged Antifa attack on the Audit site. So I mean that would be very strange too. I don't know why you would attack it. I mean, there's no need for that. That's kind of dumb. All they're trying to do is just, they're just trying to look through stuff and see if there was any tampering or anything like that. There's no need to bring freaking violence or goddamn like a covert op mission, to just like dispose of the evidence. So I don't know if there's any backing behind that, because it is just speculation. But I mean, it's just people saying that on social media. But I don't know. It would be interesting. I mean, I hope there's not. Yeah. And one of the last parts of these articles is, will the Democrats participate? The Maricopa County elections are run with participation of three major parties: Democratic, Republican, and Libertarian. I'll provide observers for pre-election equipment tests, ballot counting, and post-election tests. Democratic Party officials are declining to take part in the audit. The fear that participating would lend credence to a bad faith effort. Democratic Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, the state's top election official, has said she's exploring her legal options, but hoped that the Maricopa County Board would shut down the audit. This is the most important question of all. Initial claims by Fan and other state Republicans that a Senate audit would help them write down new election bills are now moot. The legislature isn't hearing any more bills this session. The goal of answering voters' questions appears dubious. Many of the questions aroused because Trump made unfounded claims for months and continues to make them, that the election was rigged. Well, I mean, this is the chance to see, if they really were unfounded or not. If there is some any traction behind those claims. This is actually kind of interesting. I think this is, I think this is great. Yeah, literally the next thing it says, Trump diehards on social media believe that the audit will produce results revealing the Maricopa County vote was stolen. Trump lost the county by 1,100 votes in a place that is over 2 million. In this, the Arizona Republic said that the conduct of post-election has been so nakedly partisan that whatever their audits find, its results will not be believed. Okay, so there's a lot of this to talk about in just that little chunk I read. But, so taking it from the top, they're saying that Trump is making all of these unfounded claims or whatever. this is like a good way to kind of silence that and shut that up. So personally, I think this is a good thing. You know, this will really, because everyone's been so torn on this here, like oh, it was fine. No, it wasn't. And if they going through it, if a biased company goes in and does a full sweep and can't find anything on it, you can like those any that whole rigged stuff, it can be basically dispelled. But if they do find something, well, then we have to then course of action will be taken, and we'll have to see we'll have to see what we're gonna have to we'll have to see if other states decide to do recounts, not recounts, but investigate, check for tampering, check for fraud, and whatnot. So, like I said, diehards believe that it was rigged, diehard Trump supporters, and that this will result that the vote was stolen. And if that's the case, that if this election was rigged and this vote was stolen, I can imagine this setting off a chain reaction and a lot of pissed off people. A lot. Including me. Because that is absolutely disgusting if that would be the case. But hopefully right now, I'm not sure who really to believe yet until they finally come out with a report and saying report. But to entertain our the Republican fellows, if they find that this was stolen and this sets off a chain reaction, there is a good chance that the election might get taken back. And this would probably be one of the biggest scandals. I mean, I think like on the planet, like in like Earth's history. So, I mean, this is kind of like this is serious. But then at the end it says Arizona Republic said that the post-election result has been so nakedly partisan and that whatever their audit finds, the results will not be believed. So basically what he's saying is if they do even find that it's stolen, they're not going to take it seriously, which I mean I think is kind of dumb, even though it is a bias, whatever. I think you should, even if I think they find something that's like like big enough to change a good amount, and because these machines by Dominion were used all over the country. I mean, I would have to go in and have to at least check them with like an official team and a few other teams. So yeah, that would be a very big reason for concern. And I mean I think it's kind of stupid in my opinion that you would just kind of shoot these claims down, especially when you have an official team backed up by a group of respected people in the Senate. They find something, that should be a voice of concern immediately. So, me personally, whatever they find, all I hope is that it's accurate and it's the truth, because I think that's what I want and what everyone else wants. But I'll follow up on this article. Not this article, but I'll follow up on what Arizona finds, what these companies find, and how they decide to go with it, decide how they do with it, because this could have a good this could change a lot of things in the future. So we'll definitely have to see, but until then, everyone take care. I'm going to be doing more breakdowns on like these kind of articles that kind of don't make it out too much, but could have serious implications that aren't really that advertised unless you really live in the area. They're not really national news stories, but I feel like they should kind of have a little bit of traction in news. So, thank you for watching and listening. Until next time.